Welcome again to Critical Conversations. I am Nyere Dubara, and today we are wanting to have conversations on gender-based violence. One of the things that we know for certain is that the family is the strongest and yet most vulnerable unit in the social system. And when we are talking of Africa's resilience, we need to understand that it is something that we all play a part in. We have just come or about to conclude our 16 days of activism campaigns. This is a work that we do not do just over the 16 days, but it's a work that we do go aggressively after during the 16 days of activism, because we believe people are a little more attentive to this difficult conversation. And today our conversation is amongst young people. This is the generation that is going to carry the baton stick of the future of Africa. And the young people who you'll be hearing are actually the volunteers for Southern Africa Dialogue. They're an amazing team of young people, all volunteers who work tirelessly to play their part to make the difference that they can in the social fabric of African people. So what we are basically looking at and hearing from them is their experiences in terms of where we are as African people in the context of understanding our commitment to ending gender-based violence.
It seemed that people were kind of reluctant to be part of something that had to do with GBV for whatever reason. And I think during that process, it actually dawned on me that people have certain perceptions about GBV that also need to be corrected. Like the thinking is, if you're almost like seen talking about like GBV, then maybe the reason why you're talking about it is because you're being abused yourself or something like that. And people don't want to necessarily be associated with that kind of stigma, kuti, they don't even want people to assume that they're being abused. And then secondly, like the process of trying to reach out to like my own peers, especially within my age group, a lot of the response for me was a lot of people really think that issues of GBV are for people like in marriages, or people are actually going through it. It's like, I'll deal with this when I have my own home. But right now, jojo type thing. I think those for me were my two like insights of what I saw, Kuti. There's also just a gap to correct certain thinking about GBV. For me the response was like, oh yeah, that's great work, but it's really none of my concern, really, truly. But like, continue doing what you're doing, great. Yeah. So, and also there was a side where it seemed like a lot of people wanted to like position themselves as like the heroes. Do you get what I'm saying? The people not being able to just get onto what other people are doing without wanting to take over what people are doing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I also saw. Like, we're doing this, and they're like, oh, so if I do this and that, and we're like, but no, it's not that we are actually moving with this, and we would love you to partner with this. And I think also like the fifth one is also like the opportunities in collaboration, but it's not as easy as it sounds, hey, because I think what makes collaboration effective is if you collaborate with the right type of people who are also aligned or see your vision, because some collaborations are not worth it in the long run because they kind of take you off the path that you actually want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I saw. From my perspective, I think the fact that now we have like material that we can use to show what Soadi does. So not everything was lost. Yes, like Nikki was saying, the engagement wasn't that great, but we have a long-lasting tool now that we can show like the substance of like our methodology and what we do and what our approach is, and I'm sure that will open more doors, so that's a win. I think the worst thing that can ever happen is putting so much effort into something and then having nothing to show for it, to say takaita something, and they'll be like, oh yeah, great, you did something, so where can we see the something, and then we have nothing to show for it. So I think that's a great, and I think it also like I think also we got insights into what we can do and where we can strengthen certain things, which is a win, because if we can't identify where our nuts and bolts need to be tightened, then we're bound to just have the same results the next round. So it's great that we've seen where we need to tighten, and I'm sure that's a guarantee that it's definitely going to be better than the next time. And I think the win is that we actually did have people come through. I think we underestimate how hard it is to actually get engagement.
Right.
Yeah, especially when you're starting something. It's different when you've seen people or bigger organizations who've been at it for years, because they've built a certain like no, it's not a fan base. We're not celebrities, but they've developed a certain community, right? But
Mm-hmm.
that sense of community is only developed through pitching up consistently. And like what Mrs. Dubara was saying, we need to learn that as we are trying to build this thing, that we're gonna have um, some moments of failure, then that's not the issue. But the issue is what we learn, what we rectify, and if we keep on moving forward. So yeah, that's cool.
All right. So we were speaking about the lessons that we got from the whole campaign. So I think the biggest lesson that I got was mainly uh, that social work, because this is my first time actually, working in a social organization or social environment, and it's kind of different to profit making organizations, whereby you have to be you can't be the same aggressive salesman um, in a social working environment. So there were a couple of lessons that I learned, especially when it comes to the financial side of people trying to get help in a social environment, as compared to people needing a product in a profit making environment. The financial lessons were, I noticed that people in Zimbabwe, like most of the people that we were trying to market to, where they have like financial constraints. So the way that we try to pitch the whole event to them, someone would just think that I would rather spend my $10 on something else, something that like $10 you anogona kutenga grocery if it's a single guy. Anogona kutenga kana grocery inokwana kana week, rice and stuff, mumwe anogona kufunga kuti $10 iyoyo I can, if it's like the females, they have their nails and stuff, things like that they are thinking those really like agent in their mind. Saka kuzofunga kuti I need to buy a gender-based violence, I need to attend a gender-based violence event and stuff. That might be too far from their head. And then also like the people that are actually facing such situations, in most cases they want, if they it's a social organization, it's a non-profit making organization, they don't expect to be charged for it. So I think we needed to find a way to bring it to them, Kuti. It's not really, you're not being charged to just attend the event, but you are being charged for the tools that you need to use, things like that. But also in the future, we would have to try to just, have it all, like make sure that everything is just, provided for. Put out the people that really need this, vanenge vatone financial constraints. Sometimes also vanogona kunge vari kana mumamarriage wekuti the man is the one that's providing for everything, right? And you are telling them, but we are trying to provide you with tools and stuff. So she will probably have to ask the husband, kuti, okay, pane event yandoda kuatenda chichichi. And then the husband will just be like what Tashley was saying, kuti, they will feel like it's for people that are already involved. Saka sometimes my husband yacho is not abusive, but anongofunga kuti ko why uda kujoina zvinhu zvakadaro asi I'm not,
not treating you well.
yes, things like that. So it was quite complicated. So we need to find a different way to pitch the idea of the event, and then also create a need. Like I think I also had a conversation with Miss Dubs, whereby I talked, we can have it, say Tunoti, the event is free, right? But we create the need of the tools during the event. We make sure during the event we are pitching our tools so well zvekuti people will need it. Like even kana pama seminars evanhu who are trying to sell their book or anything, you can just go to the seminar for free, but they will pitch their book so well zvekuti you will feel like I really need to get that book you get. And then also in the way of pitching, I was thinking of something. In the way of pitching. So yeah, I think that's the main lessons that I got from this, and we have somewhere that we're going, but we just need to use different strategies. And then also, since we're doing digital it requires a lot of we need to be present digitally. We can't depend on your peers when it comes to your digital presence, your peers, because we were just a few. So our peers, maybe each and every person has kind of 200 contacts. From 200 contacts, getting kind of 10 people interested can be really hard. So we need to find different methods of improving that presence. Like I think ndakambo picha yekuti trying to making my sponsored ads. I know you have been going on radio and stuff, things like that. Even if you can substitute my radio presence, wow, and invest in sponsoring my YouTube ads, my Facebook ads, my TikTok ads. I think that can actually, help and bring, and kuti from a sponsored ad Facebook or YouTube, someone that actually comes to your inbox or anywhere kwacho kwaazvionera, they are really interested, because munhu click an ad raasiri interested naye. Kana asiri interested, they will just scroll. But if they actually take the time to look at the ad and read everything, and then they decide to click and on your link, it means that they are really interested, and it's just now a matter of you just doing your pitch, and you already have your person or whoever you want to advertise to. Yeah. So our biggest win, like what everybody was saying, is we managed to pull through. We managed to do the events, and people showed up. Even the people, some people I just thought could go register, but they don't even show up. But people actually showed up, and they actually liked what was being talked about. So that it means that at the back of their mind, they know kuti there is Soadi, and the next time patinoedzawo kuvapitchira futi, they will obviously be interested, and even they can bring more people. So I think that was our biggest thing. Good, we did the events. We didn't give up at the end of the day. But no, let's not do it. So at least we did it, and the people that showed up, they know at the back of their head, kuti, there's a organization called Soadi, and they were
Come
pushing,
on.
Sorry.
No, I'm encouraging you, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, people know it, and they will be ready to participate, the next time. So we already have a group of people that are ready to participate, and even those that didn't manage to attend, but they know kuti they do owe us that attendance. So even next time you'll be like, but last time, yeah. So yeah, we are going somewhere.
My whole experience, what I found out, what I discovered whilst I was trying to recruit certain individuals, even companies, businesses, organizations, was that most people were not aware of the situation. I don't know if it's them not being aware or just being ignorant of the cause, because I thought this was a common thing amongst African Africa as a continent, even around the world globally. But it seems like people do not care enough, or haven't been exposed to the information, or are not aware of the whole situation, that this is actually gender-based violence, the lifestyle that I'm living at the moment. I figured that some people actually find it as a normal thing, and we have normalized the abnormal, and it's quite hard to reach out or to make them understand that this is actually a serious issue to address, and it needs to be addressed immediately before it escalates to something like murder, or jail time and all that. So uh, that was my experience, and that's what I discovered during the whole time. I think we have a lot to celebrate in terms of during the outreach. A lot of people are now kind of aware. By doing that, they can now navigate themselves, or they have an outlet that they can reach out to, which is us. when certain situations like that come up in their areas, locations, business environments, and all that.
Even our numbers were discouraging, but we still did it. We continued. That was encouraging for me. I'm like, yes, we are doing it. That was a big win personally for me. I'm like, yes, we are not gonna stop because the numbers are discouraging. They are far from what we're aiming at, but we're still doing it, and we're still continuing, and we're still going out there, and we're still talking to people, to those that want to listen. That for me was a big win.
Thank you so much, guys. What I love about going last is you can always say, this is another Tauro, so Tauro. Clever. Thank you, guys. But honestly, Zvakawanda's Zvacho it's points that other people have touched. I'll just go to maybe what I had zvisina kutaurwa or zvisina kunyatsobatwa. I think most of the lessons amataura to all my lessons and observe maybe one thing more is the actual education of what concept of like gender-based violence, like what is it? Because most people I think they just have a basic knowledge Kuti. It's when you put your hands on somebody else. They don't really consider all the other forms of gender-based violence. I think it's some of the things that I learned from reading the material or just going through the campaign, listening to the interviews and our messaging and everything, that there are way more other forms that people don't really consider as GBV, and they kind of ignore them, but they affect the victims in the same way. And I think that's a very, very important message. The other thing, and I'm glad that Brandon put it out clearly and concisely. I love that. Focus on um, the value. I remember Tichi when we were still going through our campaigns. Tichi had to emphasize that let's put together what value we are giving to these people in a way that they understand it. Because sometimes we might say we are giving you the education, and to us it's something very important, but to the person on the other side, you can be like, man, come on. And so we need to find a way we can package what value we are giving to them, and so I think that's the other lesson that I learned.